It's the love boat. The love boat is here. I don't know the words.
Making another run.
Yes, another run. Reruns. Guys, welcome back to Young Romance, Volume 1, Part 2.
Whoa.
The best of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's romance comics.
Ooh.
Reminds me back when I used to court He-Man.
What?
What? No, I mean, no. Nothing.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't the Enchantress?
Yes, the Enchantress. Well, joining me tonight for this special occasion, this lovely occasion, is Melissa and Amy Lester.
Hello. This should be fun.
Yes, girls, you are here trapped with me. And love. Yes, also joining us is the love guru herself, Mariah.
Promises something for everyone.
And lastly, not leastly, he is my friend, the Noid, Eric Breen.
Join us tonight as Terry from the Teen Titans,
Oh,
Ted from the X-Men,
Oh,
and
no.
Paul from Spider-Man go out in the town looking for love.
in all the wrong places.
Run.
Did someone say Ted?
Oh, no.
How's it going, little genie?
Yes, without further ado, I shall make us disappear.
Ah!
I hit the wrong button, but it's okay. Now,
Sorry. We'll figure it all out.
yes, I shall.
Hmm?
We are now going into
The Twilight Zone.
the Kindle Zone.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Is
wow.
there room for love in a heart filled with hate? A former enemy sought the answer to this timely problem that many German Fräuleins now face in this hand-gripping confession story of an occupation soldier's Fräulein sweetheart.
Oh, this is translated by Sergeant J. Olek.
Hmm.
Otherwise known as Jack Olick, a lifer at DC.
Aha.
Girls, fight!
You've been out with the American soldier again. How could he be happy in his company after what the Americans have done to our people?
The tale's called Fräulein, so they must be German.
You have been out with the American soldier again. How can you be happy in his company after what the Americans have done to our people?
Tell him you'll do a German accent when he pronounces Fraulein correctly.
It's Fräulein.
Can my character be French?
Okay.
Okay. I can't understand it myself, Kate, which is not a very German name, but all I know is that I love him truly, deeply.
We got look
And
at
I have
this
them
baby
funny
girl,
little
baby
hands.
girl,
His
little
name
baby
wouldn't be
arms.
Clint by any chance, would it?
No.
Who is speaking?
So you?
It's you.
Oh, my name is Anneliese Crow. I live in the town of Marburg, in the American occupation zone of Germany, where were strange conquerors, these Americans. The first day the infantry and armored columns entered Marburg, I stood in the silent crowd and watched the old young faces under the mud-caked helmets, and was moved by a quality about them that was different from the stone faces of our own troops on the march. I hated the Americans and gave them no further thought. That is, until the raid.
What a night. The CO picked for a raid. I wish I never heard of this town.
Stop griping, Smitty. At least the narrator of the story doesn't hate Americans.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Maybe we'll run into some good-looking Frauleins.
Yes, Fräuleins!
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like a praline, but different.
Praline, yeah.
Wake up, Kate! The Americans are at the door! It must be another raid! and not a rave. That would be a party.
Why can't they leave us alone? Haven't they already done enough already? Enough.
Come on.
Boop, boop, boop.
All right, let's get out of that second there. Open up.
Here comes Reggie and Archie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't open it, Alice. We've done nothing. They have no right to disturb us this way.
I must. They'll break the door down. Oh, these Americans. Hello.
Eric, you want to take it?
Sorry, Frailing, but we'll have to search your rooms. This is a precautionary raid extending through town. We're looking for arms, contraband, and Clint. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Sarge, these Frauleins aren't bad. Maybe we can date them.
You ruined that opportunity when you came to my door. It was always the same. We were Frauleins to these men. Not just girls, but Frauleins. Their interpretation of this name carried nothing but insult and sly insinuation.
Get this straight, Smitty. We're here on business. What you do in your free time is your affair. But as long as you're on my detail, you'll just do your job, see?
Sarge, they're only a couple of Frauleins.
I should have been furious. We had no arms, no contraband, but somehow the soldiers' insults had lost its sting. It was the sergeant who held my interest. He was the Yankee conqueror, aloof, impersonal, yet when our eyes met in brief glances, I turned soft inside. The search lasted a few minutes then.
Yes, Fraulein. I have been most aloof.
Uh-huh.
And you have been more cooperative than most.
I bet
I'll
his
be
fir-
back with nylons and chocolate.
Yeah, I bet his first name is Clint.
Cooperative. We have no choice but to be cooperative. These stupid ladies only add to our misery.
She looks like Joe Crawford.
Yeah. Kate's outburst angered him. I could see his hatred for us leap like flames in his eyes. To him, we were Nazis, the enemies of his democracy.
Don't kid me, sister. You people are hardly eligible to complain about misery when you've inflicted it on the whole world. Good night.
Nurse.
When the door shut behind him, I yielded to the tears which I could no longer control. Yes, I wept. Wept for the peace I could not find, for the only man I could ever give my love to, the man who could only return it to with loathing and scorn. Seriously? You made him like 2 minutes?
Scones?
Yes, scones and tea.
Yes.
Loathing, not so much. Scones and tea, I'm good with.
Why don't you cry, you little fool? Someday we'll fight again, and the Americans will pay for his insults.
Wow.
Whoa. How could Kate, blinded by party fanaticism, know the reason for my own happiness? I wanted love. I only for a kiss, from this man who had suddenly kindled a fire where there had once been nothing but a cold emptiness. Oh, look, of course.
Oh my.
Someone should put that out.
Yes.
Just outside the city, there is a little footbridge that crosses a river. Once the young men of Marburg walked there with their sweethearts, but now it is lonely and deserted. I went there the next day to be alone. You!
Mind if I join you?
Oh wow.
Of course! Being alone is better with company.
Yes.
Did I mind if he joined me? Would I have minded if the sun shone, or the birds sang? I if the barrier of hate between this man and myself would cease to exist. I still avoided his glances as I answered. If you wish, Sergeant.
My little desert flower. The name is Hamilton.
So it is.
Jack Hamilton.
Jack Clint Hamilton.
Need to sound very American. The afternoon flowed along like a tranquil stream. Jacques was gentle and kind and soft-spoken, and we must have talked for hours. This is a pretty background.
Golly.
Golly!
Golly there.
It's late. We've put away a lot of conversation. We'd better get back to town.
Mhm.
Yes. To town. Oh, there we are. Oh, Jack, it frightens me to think we might have never met again.
Don't worry, my dear. I've peeked at the next couple of pages of the story.
Oh dear.
We'd have met Annalise, if not today, then maybe the day before. The problem of two people on a map to a hill of beans when there's a romance story to be told.
Where do they keep these hills of beans?
I'm bushed.
Then some other day. But we'd have met because when there's overacting to be done. You see, Annalise, our meeting today was not an accident.
Oh dear.
I waited until I saw you leave the house. I brutally murdered yourself. No, I didn't mean to say this out loud. And followed you. Oh, my turtle dove. Are you angry?
Angry? With you, Liebchen? Oh no, Jack. I am happy. Oh, so happy.
So happy together. Oh my gosh.
Annalise. Oh, heaven help us both.
Oh, yeah. Oh dear.
Give me some tongue, Annalise.
Oh dear.
The weeks that followed were glorious. Jack and I were in love. Madly in love.
Oh dear.
I had a hat on, and then I didn't.
And then he had a head on.
And then he had a hat on.
Is that Bogart?
Yes, it does kind of look like Bogart.
It does look like him.
Oh, yeah.
No, waiter.
His head.
He looks a little bit like Bob Hope without a nose, without the big nose.
I began to think that nothing would ever come between Jack and myself. But I was wrong. The past grimly waited for me at home. Kate saw to that.
You're late again, Annalise. I suppose you've been with your American again.
Well, what if I have?
He can tolerate the uniform your American wears because he's handsome. But can you forget this?
Nice of you to notice.
This, your emblem of loyalty to the Third Reich. Remember the inscription. It says, to Annalise Horn, for services rendered to the Führer, 1943.
Ugh. I got a medal? Was I in the army?
Have you forgotten that you were a Hitler Youth Leader?
Ugh.
Have you forgotten your fatherland? These Americans are trying to destroy. How can you feel anything but hate for them?
Because you can't get anybody. Don't be witchy.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us? Yes! Yes, I have forgotten! I want to forget! Love does not choose between uniforms. Love owes allegiance to no party or fatherland. I can only be happy with Jack. I want no more of the past.
You expect me to believe this great love has replaced your devotion to the Führer? We are Nazis. It always will be.
No, no, I renounce my body link. I love Jack. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Also, I shouted my love for Jack. I knew Kate was right. I could not deny my unfaltering belief in the glory and power that was the work of. No, that can't be right at all. I had been nope since the day she was born. Oh, poor thing. Wait, were they in power that long?
She was in the youth leader. Yeah, 1943. This is 45.
Oh no, poor thing.
She did.
The party was my very life. To be anything but the Nazi was unthinkable. I must be sincere with Jack. You must know. It will hurt him, but it will be a hurt that will mend in time.
Indeed.
When I saw him the next day, it was Jack who led the conversation to the subject I feared most to discuss with him.
Annalise, you just told me you loved me. I want to hear you say it again before.
Before what, Jack?
Annalise, when Hitler was in power, what did you think? I mean, what did you believe? Did you believe in what your country was doing?
What does it matter now, Jack? We lost the war.
Damn it, Annalise, it helps me to overact.
Oh, that is true.
It matters to me. Answer me, you little Hitler youth leader.
That's a little extreme.
Well, I read the page before.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that probably does make it easier. Of course, I believed in him. He was our Führer. I am German, and he was Germany. Oh, Jack, what has this to do with us? We love each other. Isn't that enough?
Annalise, I have to tell you, you recently suffered from an affliction that's common in comics, where someone's entire color changes for one panel.
Yes.
Gasp!
No, it isn't. What of the millions
And millions of the Rock's fans.
who were put to death? What of the indentured servant labor? The destruction caused by your precious fatherland.
But we were not told of these things.
I just told you.
Well, yes, but previous to that, we didn't. It's not like they went around and said, "Hey, we're gonna go kill a lot of people." Is everyone good with that? And we're like, "Yes, we signed on for this." Not how that happened.
That's how it works.
Not how that works. But I am to be blamed for crimes I knew nothing about.
Did they put the audience in?
They left.
Oh, yeah.
You're a Nazi, all right. You lie like all the others.
Oh boy.
Don't you have any feelings for the suffering that these people are going through listening to us now?
Mhm.
Don't you know what your people have done to the world? They gave us the ugliest cars imaginable. They look like little beetles.
Beetles are kind of cute, though.
Hey, but they give us Fanta and Coke.
That is true.
Yes, Jack, I know. But it was necessary. Germany will. No, it won't. Well, it does okay. At least they didn't get stuck with the wall between them forever. So hopefully that'll be good. Then I will be the conqueror and you will be the vanquished. Really? Huh. But I will still love you. Kiss me, Jack. Boy,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is crazy.
Hey. Yeah, well,
And they left. But Jack did not kiss me for some reason. I just let him take over America somehow. Instead, his features hardened into a rigid mask he wore. The night of the raid, Jack Hamilton lost to me forever. I released him as he turned and walked silently across the field, the wrong way from the town. I guess he's going over there.
Well, it's a long way to Tipperary.
It is.
It is.
Kate was lounging about as usual. Apparently, we don't have jobs or anything. When I got home, my dejected entrance was enough to tell Kate the whole story. She hid her triumphant behind a sly half smile.
Well, not out with your handsome American tonight.
There is no more handsome American.
Plot twist.
Plot
Kate's
twist.
going out with him now.
What?
So you've finally come to your senses. What did you tell him?
Nothing. Except that I was. I think we have another phrase for that, but I can't even remember what it is.
Ratsy.
MAGA.
We were MAGA, and that was enough.
I haven't pulled out that chestnut in a while.
Boy, that is more.
That was unwise.
Whoa, look at that forehead. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, both our foreheads. Yeah, it's a
Forehead for life.
4.5 head.
However, the evil Siegfried will probably keep the information to himself. Perhaps now you can concentrate. You can concentrate on more important matters. Willie and Hans will be here soon. They have plans to discuss.
Get to Strange Life.
Willie and the Poor Boys?
Yeah. That's right.
We're going to start a band. Cool. Plans to do what?
To blow up the military headquarters in town, and a few Americans find visit.
What? As a faithful person who made some really bad life choices, I should have received this news with more enthusiasm than I did. Wiley and Hans were former somebody and knew their deadly work to grim perfection. Boy, I thought she had a bad forehead. Look at this guy.
Yes, the bomb is planted. We will destroy He-Man.
Really, as much as you like to do German accents, you have a chance to actually do a German. And you
Kirby
do
wanted
that.
German.
Do it.
Yeah, the bomb is not planted. Yeah, you explode it at 6 o'clock tomorrow. It is time to fight back.
But Eddie, that's murder.
Actually, it looks more like Abraham Lincoln than a German.
Yeah, it kind of does. Without the beard.
Orange,
Is that
orange,
supposed
7
to be
years.
Italian?
Do you call carrying out the destiny of the Third Reich murder? The Führer has given all Germans a mission. Only we are fit to rule the world, and only those who stand in our way and those who stand in our way deserve to die.
I'm less convinced. The thought that Jack would be endangered by this mad scheme drove me to risk the suspicion I had already drawn from my so-called friends. That night, I passed a note under the door of constabulary headquarters. However, I had forgotten that Jack was familiar with my handwriting, Sacre Blue!
From that afternoon with the Mad Libs.
From the afternoon with the Mad Libs. Those were so funny. To Kate, Willie, and Hans, the discovery of the bomb was an unforeseen accident. They were discovered and imprisoned by the denazification court. That's a funny word. Jack stopped me in the street the next day.
Annalise, I, Jack Hamilton, want to talk to you.
Gasp!
I thought he was Jack Clint.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Annalise, I won't ask you how you knew of the bomb. I want to thank you for saving many lives in my outfit. I also want to say goodbye. I'm marrying Kate.
Oh, no.
What? Good. Cookie. What? Okay, that. Goodbye. Are you and Kate leaving?
Oh, should he just saying?
What?
Yes, Annalise. I'm going home. We'll probably never see each other again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll always love you, Annalise, and your giant forehead.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
But
pretty good right now. Yes, I know, Jack. Our worlds are too far apart. Your world is bright with promise. Mine still smolders from the dark hatreds.
I thought it was the Hat Reds.
Hatreds.
Manga.
you're learning, Annalise. There's good in you. You've proven that you're capable of loving sincerely. That's a good beginning. Keep that love alive in your heart. Maybe you'll be used in another story. Maybe then you can find true love. It will be your bright promise. Auf Wiedersehen.
I wanted to plead, to beg, to throw myself in his arms and tell him how deep my love really was. But he was hurrying down the street before I could cry out to him. For one brief instant, he turned and waved to me, and soon he was gone. Auf Wiedersehen, Liebchen. I think he just didn't want to have a serious relationship.
Yeah.
I'm a player.
Boo! My American was but a tender memory now. He had opened the door of my heart so I could see a little more of the truth. I knew now what Jack had been trying to tell me, that one cannot harbor love and hate in the same heart, that one must love everybody in order to love at all. The sun suddenly splashed the shadowed streets with warm light. Was he Tunnel Man?
No, you fool! It's a nuclear bomb. I could never believe it of you, Joyce. You're the one girl I never thought would lie to me, Skeletor.
Yes. My own daughter treating me this way after all I did for you.
David must never know about my background. I can't risk losing his love because of the difference in our social positions. All my dreams and hopes are at stake.
Steakhouse?
Ooh, with the bread rolls? I don't even know.
I always said she was an ungrateful little snob, and I was right.
This guy likes to draw noses one way, and that's what he
He
does.
was all that a girl could hope for, and they were engaged to be married. But Joyce knew that the day would come when he would have to meet her family. She couldn't face that day without shame.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. I told him his nose wasn't too short. It was a lie. Oh, there you go.
I was more fortunate than most girls who work in busy offices and never realize their desire to marry their wealthy, handsome bosses. I was a private secretary to David Stanton Jr., one of the department store stands who made me the envy of my coworkers when we became engaged.
It's pink.
Well, that'd be all the dictation for the day, David. Office hours are nearly over.
Clock watcher, I'll drive you and throw you in front of a train.
Oh yeah.
I returned David's love with all the sincerity my heart could offer. Keeping his love meant everything to me. I guess that's why I lied to David. I foolishly created a mythical family of social position equal to his own. A family his people would accept, but never see.
I know your folks are still traveling in Eternia, Joyce, but we must make our wedding plans.
Yes, I know, David. People in love, as we are, should be married right away.
In Eternia.
In Eternia. We won't wait any longer, darling. I'll write Daddy today that his pampered daughter is simply mad about her handsome boss.
Yes. Who intends to fire her and make her Miss Evil Lynn Skeletor? You can write that to the old boy.
Firing somebody's not great.
A half hour later, I'd reached my Stanton, the Shanty district, the part of town in which David Stanton's kind moved only as a detached sightseers. It was a different world, a gloomy, shabby world, a ragged specter haunting my every step toward happiness.
Somebody.
I'll take it. Hello, Joyce. Here's your ma.
She's behind Mr. Smith. The drafty, weather-beaten house on West Street was where I was born and raised, was still my home. I longed desperately to flee from it, for comfort, security, and the warmth of David's arms.
You're home early tonight, Joyce. We'll eat as soon as Hal comes home.
I'm not too hungry, Mom. I'll just have some coffee and toast.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Oh no. I don't feel up to a big meal right now.
That's like that
Looks
The Eye
like
of the
Jack Kirby.
yeah, Mrs. Jack Kirby. Or the Eye of the Beholder Twilight Zone episode. All right, Joyce. I understand, child.
Mom did understand. Handicapped by poverty and poor education, she had always used every opportunity within her reach to give me things a cruel destiny had denied her.
Like looks. I've got a surprise for you, Joyce. It will look wonderful on you, honey.
Why, Mom, it looks like a formal gown. How on earth did he manage to buy it?
She probably sold her liver.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you need that? Oh, Mom, it's beautiful. You shouldn't have bought it. You must have spent your entire savings.
Well, I have been saving a little here and there. And I saw this gown in an exclusive shop. And decided I just had to buy it for you.
You're so good to me, Mom. How am I ever going to repay you for the way you've struggled to make this miserable existence a little easier for me to bear?
Ah, never mind, baby. You aren't like your brother and me. You're meant for better things. Do you think your young man will like you in this dress?
Well, why did you know about...
A woman can keep a secret from a man, honey, but never from another woman. I was never a pretty girl, but I was young once, and very happy. When I would dress for a date with your pa, I'd look in the mirror and see the same light in my eyes as I've noticed in yours. That's you, Eric.
Bravo. Bravo. Now ring down the curtain and rustle me some chow, Mom. This soap opera stuff makes me cry in my beer.
Hal, if you must listen, I do wish you spare Mom your vulgar sarcasm. My brother, Harold, had disliked me ever since. As a 3-year-old, he had witnessed the affection lavished on me at birth. Although Hal possessed some admirable qualities, he was a typical West Street tough, daring the world to strike the chip off his shoulder.
Well, pardon me for not bowing at the waist, Duchess. Where'd you get the new dress? New boyfriend?
How?
You low-minded hoodlum.
I'll show you who's low-minded. You and your smart set ideas. I'll beat him out of you fast enough.
You stop that, Hal. I bought this gown for Joyce. You've got no right saying such things to her.
Who says I haven't? I'm part of the family too, you know. Go ahead, Mom. Work yourself sick and save your pennies to put Sis in the blue book. Maybe one of these days she'll drop a dime in your cup when she goes slumming through West Street. Ah, and why do I only look 5 years younger than my mom?
I know, right? That's pretty rough living.
The wide gulf existing between David's family and my own was revealed to me with terrifying clarity. And Hal's crude display, The day the Statons met the Owens would be the end of all my dreams. I was frantic with worry.
I guess that takes care of business for today. Now, for some pleasure, Miss Evelyn, shall we say? How about we kick some orphans down the street over there in Shantytown?
Ooh.
Cocktails at 5?
Sounds a little better.
If my governor commands, his indentured servant obeys. Of course, David.
Yeah, Skeletor, not David. Who's this David guy?
Cute hat.
Only when I was with Skeletor at the office, where the social barriers lowered to admit me to my love. Every logical thought told me I was an impudent trespasser, yet my heart ignored all reason. But as Skeletor and I left the office building, my blood froze in my veins.
No.
Together we will make sweet love after we defeat He-Man.
Coming towards us across the lobby was my mother. I stopped, transfixed by fear and indecision. In Mom's eyes, recognition flared but was instantly hidden by lowered lids. She rustled silently by me. We might have been perfect strangers.
Which with the troll over there?
No, I.
That's a very good conflicted expression.
That is. Mom was still up when I came home that night. I didn't relish facing her after the shameful way I treated her. Oh, Mom, I must have been so cruel.
Don't feel that way, honey. I understand. Now let's just forget what happened. Let's go to your room. I've got something to show you.
It's a shotgun.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what an adorable fur jacket. How did you ever manage it?
That's my secret, Joyce. I just wanted to help you impress your young man. It looks very nice. I shaved your brother.
Chewbacca?
Yes.
Their other brother.
I hope she's not stealing these things.
Well, you never know.
That was Mom, always understanding and forgiving. I wasn't worthy of the devotion, loyalty, and generosity she showed me. I began to take this precious woman for granted. In a few days, I was my old self. Again, I faced David across the desk.
Get your coat, darling. As soon as I'm through with this call, I'm going on a buying trip in the textile district. We're going to look at bathroom floor tiles. I need you along.
Ooh. Oh, swell. I'd love to look over those stunning new styles. I had a wonderful time accompanying David on his buying trip. I was introduced everywhere and as David's fiancée. My heart kept joyous pace with our tour through the city.
This is the last stop, honey. Bob Evans in hard case.
Ooh, Bob Evans.
This outfit handles brooms and mops and stuff you won't need when you're Mrs. Skeletor. Skeletor. Junior?
Yes.
Silly, I'd work my fingers to the bone for you, darling.
Skeletor? Oh,
Skeletor.
finger bones? Right?
Bones. Yeah. Skull. As we entered the executive office of Evans and Case, I received a shock that drained my entire being of its gaiety and filled me with dread. That scrubbing woman. It's Mom. That's where Mom gets the money for the dress, and that's where the money for the dress and jacket came from.
She must have known she worked.
Yeah, but she didn't know where.
Oh. Okay.
And me?
I'm finishing here. You could scrub the corridor outside.
She hadn't seen us, and she's leaving. If I turn my back, she'll never know I was here. David or Skeletor, be careful.
Say, you slaves make some fine mops.
Oh, help. I'm hurt.
I even hit that woman outside. Oh no! It's that old troll I saw. She's been cut down pretty good.
Look at all that red.
Oh,
Easy now. Easy. We gotta get her to a veterinarian.
oh, I'm starting to get a little. I'm almost ready to go screaming to Grayskull at this point. Mom, oh, Mom, why did this have to happen?
Yes, Evelyn, I'm taking this ugly troll to the animal hospital. Return to the office and tell them I won't be back in today. We'll have to schedule my visit to take over Turner for tomorrow.
Yes, Skeletor, of course. I called the office, but didn't return there. Instead, I walked the streets, my mind a whirling chaos of foreboding thoughts. Selfishly enough, David's discovery of my identity troubled me more than my mom's condition. It looks like it's all over now. My hopes, my plans, all over. Suddenly, the enormity of the lie I was living in filled me with shame. My behavior toward my own mother was abominable. This hunger for comfort and security. What had it done to me? What kind of creature had I become? And Mom, what a miserable disappointment I've been as a daughter.
Sorry.
It's the tension, I understand.
It's like when we're in a theater and the one guy coughs. How dare you?
Something within me seemed to right itself at that moment. I began to see things in a new perspective and found how little and my self-centered plans mattered next to grand people like Mom and David. I was overcome with unbearable remorse. I guess I don't deserve either Mom or David's love now. Things will be better this way for us all.
Yes, you don't want David, you want Skeletors.
Skeletor, you probably learned the truth about me at this time. You watched me treat my mother with the air of a sympathetic bystander when she was hurt and needed a daughter's assistance. After behaving in this contemptible fashion, I could never face you again. This is goodbye, David. I'm so very sorry. And so I left town, went to another city where I could start from scratch, to make of myself the kind of woman who would face life with the courage the old Joyce Owens sorely needed.
Another city where I could start from scratch.
Oh dear.
Be pair might beat David and me if I hadn't been the silly fool I was.
What kind of fool am I?
2 months later, I obtained a job. I found good lodgings, and for the first time, I found a serenity I'd never known before. Then, one evening, I had a visitor.
That's your brother.
Eric?
Yeah.
Hello, sis.
Why, how? How did you...
How I found you isn't important.
Hmm?
What does matter is that Mom is kind of worried about you. Why don't you write, sis?
He got himself cleaned up and lost all his face wrinkles.
Yeah. I don't think she'd ever want to hear from me again after how I acted.
You didn't hit her with a broom.
I did.
That's right. You certainly gave Mom a bum deal. I was angry enough to blow a fuse, but not Mom. She's soft on you, I guess. Always has been. She's the best choice. And now she's worried sick over you.
Oh, Hal, why did you come? I'd almost forgotten how rotten I'd been.
Oh, sis, it wasn't fair of me to hit low like that. I know it's been tough for you, having to live with your mistakes. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Wow.
Sarah, that's sweet.
Wow. Hal, I've tried so hard to be self-reliant, to make myself worthy of Mom's kindness. I've worked so hard.
And they're back.
And they're back.
I know, kid. I'm aging with every panel. I've been keeping tabs on you. So is a certain other party.
Mm-mm.
He was the angriest of us all. The softest, too, I guess. Maybe that's why when you see him, he hasn't aged as badly as I have.
Yeah.
He's in love, the sap. It won't take much to make him come around.
Hmm.
Hal, you mean Skeletor still?
No, Jack Hamilton. He was left over from the first story.
See? I told you.
Curses, He-Man! I mean Jack Hamilton!
The story gets more and more mixed up.
Loves you. Why, he's crazy about you. Fact is, we all love you, sis. Mom, Mr. Blue Book, and me. Oh, why don't you come home?
Oh, yes. Yes, Hal. Oh, yes, I want so much to go home. The people there are the most wonderful on earth. There's no place like home.
Wait, that's where it stopped?
That's where it stops.
Oh, no. We're not going to see her go home and say hi to Reed. Oh, okay. We'll just take that part as read.
Josh?
Oh, come on, He-Man. Or Skeletor. Go ahead, Skeletor. This is your night.
Just one more year ago, this magazine published the story of Tony Benson, the man who discovered Tony's Pizza.
Hmm. Yeah.
And their girl they called Pickup,
Whoa.
because she was big as a truck. Our readers recognize Tony to be the living, heartwarming personality, for since the publication of Publix
Yes.
of her story, where her story was a pleasure, young romance has been flooded. Yes, someone backed up the toilet again.
Oh no.
With numerous quests asking one question. Did Skeletor kill He-Man yet?
Oh no.
What?
All
No
right.
other questions?
No. There's one more. Did Tony and her ex-gambler husband eventually find happiness in the town that didn't want them? We decided to get the answer from Tony herself, for we knew that unlike fictional characters like you and me, Tony's problems didn't end with her marriage to the man she loved. There was still the town and Tony Benson.
Dun dun dun.
That's
Ooh,
like
that's a great background.
the town and Tony Benson, that hussy.
Yes.
It's kind of a cute name.
All right.
Uh,
Miranda, do you want to be Tony?
I'll be telling you this time. Yes.
The town, the world of Tony Benson and Stanley Budko was not a very large place, but they had room to play football in a big yard.
Oh, that's good. You need that.
It was warm, light, and
That's her. That's her saying that. Okay.
sure.
Yeah, because it's Stan and I. He was Stan.
Ah.
Okay.
Then why would you refer yourself in third person?
Why
Only
not?
I,
Why not?
Skeletor, get to do that.
No, I get to do it. I get to do it. The world of Tony Benson and Stanley Budko was not a very large place, but it was warm, light, and happy. Stan and I created it from the most divine, D-I-V-I-N-E, it's not divine,
Right.
Did Devin?
divine of emotions, and strengthened its priceless substance with a combined faith in ourselves and the future. When Stan and I were married a year ago, we took possession of this world and became its sole inhabitants.
Who do you want to do this?
We've been man and wife 3 days, 5 hours, and 10 minutes. Any regrets, honey?
Regret marrying the handsomest, most charming, and considerate man in the world? Surely you're joshing, Mr. B.
That doesn't seem to be the opinion of the so-called respectable citizens of Bradley, Pennsylvania.
Oh, really? Strange. I can't recall ever hearing of such a town. I don't believe it exists. Nothing is real outside this room. Uh-oh. Look at
It's
this.
kind of surprising considering you've slept with everybody outside of this room.
No, I haven't.
Curses, He-Man!
Stan, I don't understand your sudden change of mood. It's not like you to take such an issue seriously. The town has never taken either of us to its bosom, but we've never let it disturb us.
It does now, Tony. Things have changed, you know.
Oh?
Yes, things have changed. We're married, Tony. Our happiness now depends on sound security. Security which we must find in Bradley.
But darling, if you feel our prospects are uncertain in Bradley, why can't we try our fortune in some other town?
I think it's going to say your happiness depends on Social Security.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe see if Jack Hamilton can help you out.
Because Bradley is the town the author of the story picked. And it has just as much to offer us as any other comic book town in America. Because it's our town. It's got its ups and downs.
Yes.
But this is our town.
Yes.
Because we're not the running kind.
You're right, of course. Oh, Stan, we were so happy a moment ago until this subject arose, of course.
Of course, honey, it's called a plot device.
Yes.
Now, I'm sorry, Pigeon. Back goes Bradley into the unfinished business file. Now, Miss Budko, how about some more laughs?
You can't worm your way out of this unforgivable breach of married bliss, Stanley Budko. Put me down, you heel.
Okay, you're not very attractive.
Hey.
Well, you said put me down.
Stan and I did the best we could to make a home of the room adjoining his small gas station repair shop. Stan was striving to develop his trade, and the weekly profits were barely enough to enable us to get by when we did. However, we managed to put aside enough each week to pay for little improvements in our tiny living quarters. It's amazing what new wallpaper will do for a place.
You know, I should have started a business repairing cars instead of repairing gas stations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering about that, yes.
At a buck a roll, this paper should do miracles.
Ring!
That sounds
Ring!
that sounds like the phone stand.
Ring!
A motorist in distress, no doubt. I'll answer that
Ring!
dang ring.
Okay, who is it? Have you had relations with him before?
Hey,
And where is his car stranded? And does he have a gas station I can repair? Tony, didn't you hear me? Hey, what's wrong?
yes, Dr. Jenkins, as soon as I can. Goodbye, sir. Uh-oh.
Well, for Pete's sake, Tony, answer me. What's happened?
That was Dr. Jenkins. Grandmother's had a bad attack. We've got to go to her right away, Stan. I'm afraid she's...
Is she worth any money?
Poor grandmother. Life hadn't given him... I don't know about the money, honey.
It's a Tom King story, little words.
I miss, yeah.
You know,
Poor,
right?
yeah, poor grandmother. They were paid by the word these days, by the way. Life hadn't given her many happy moments, only a stoic courage to withstand her tragic burdens. I had been one of them, left in her care by a scandal which hounded my mother from town and caused the death of my father. Years later, grandmother was to witness another scandal evolved from an innocent escapade with myself as the subject of gossip. My marriage to Stan left grandmother empty and bitter, but Stan was never among the town's more desirable catches.
You know, Tony, I think I need a bigger truck. I can barely tow a gas station with this.
Yes, this is true.
And I don't think there's any cause for alarm, Tony. Your granny's pulled out of these attacks before. She's
Uh,
like May Parker.
of course. Hurry, Stan. Please hurry. The Benson house, built by my father's family, rose tall and white above the stately old elm tree. Like all the other houses on Aiken Street, its lines bore the straight-laced propriety of Bradley's God-fearing elders.
Maybe it's best that I wait out here, Tony. You know how your grandmother feels towards me just because I tried to smother her with a pillow?
Uh-huh.
That's getting off on the wrong foot, I'd say.
No, Stan, we go together. You're my husband. A man who can hold his head high in front of anybody.
All right, chicken. I have nothing to be ashamed of. And I look 20 years younger in this panel.
Yes, you do. Grandmother lay motionless in the snowy whiteness of her great bed. There was little left of life in the ashen wax-like features. I didn't stifle the incoherent sound that escaped my lips in my unheeding dash to grandmother's bedside. The years about us were snapping cords of living tissues that inflicted horrible pain upon us both as the hand of death reached to sever the last remaining strand, and I'll let somebody else. I'm not gonna do the dying one this time.
Tony, child, my poor sweet child of mine.
A bright light flared momentarily in the cavernous shadows of grandmother's eyes. When her gaze fell upon Stan, he read the summons and came quietly forward. I felt his presence beside me, tense and waiting, unafraid of whatever might come from those bloodless lips.
Stanley Buttkiss. I've called you by many names. All of them bad. It was a sinful thing I must take with me. And it was totally worth it. I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. We sometimes forget, until the last moment, that we're nothing but clay. That judging others is the privilege of a higher power. You came to us from the dregs of society in a town with the strange name of Stigma of that district. And I will also call you a son of a bitch.
Hey,
When I leave, you will be haunted by me for your life, Edison.
Stanley's shadow stood on the delicate pattern of grandmother's blanket. It was obvious that the fading voice had drawn a reaction equal to the unexpected words.
I go with faith in both of you, my children. I get to leave this reading.
Thanks for repairing her gas station.
Yes. Except for my smothered sobs, the room was heavy with the stillness of eternity. Then there was the soft tread of Dr. Jenkins and the strong arms of Stan lifting me to the smooth folds of his leather jacket. Grandmother was gone, leaving in her passing a memory forever stamped in our hearts.
Goodbye, Sarah. You're a good woman. A good woman.
I'm not dead yet, you jackass.
Here, let me get this pillow for you and the sheet.
Expect my daughter.
Stanley Budgo. What I know about you is strictly town gossip. Well, I've been Sarah Svensson's good friend for many years. Believe me when I tell you that hers were not merely the words of a dying woman. You are a Benson. At least you can be one. You'll know what I mean in a few days.
They related?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
I really hope not.
Grandmother had evidently confided in Dr. Jenkins. What he meant to convey stood out in bold relief in grandmother's legacy. Albert Reitbeck, the family attorney, underscored the meaning of it when he called Stan and myself to his office later that week. If you want to try to take it.
The Benson house and property now belong to both of you. That's about all there is.
Someone is trying to give it infringement there.
Yes. You mean the house is ours?
Both of us?
Yep, you're co-owner of the Benson house, Budco. It's a great stroke of fortune for an ex-gambler who uses the property for ready cash. But it can be an even greater gift to a man who's building a sound future.
Now, see here, Rhinebeck. I'm now 6 inches taller than I've been in any panel.
Yes.
Standing up straight will do a thing. I know you operate a small gas station repair shop, but I'm also aware of your earlier affiliations. That's why, as a Benson and friend, as well as the legal advisor, I caution Sarah against this move. But she acted according to her own plan, and it was a plan I still consider to be a fine woman's vain hope.
I believe you said quite enough, Mr. Renbeck. At hour 2.
I'm still going, apparently. There was no intent on my part to offend either of you, Tony, except maybe that guy right there. Yeah. Between lawyer and client, a spade by any other name is still a spade, and I sincerely hope you prove me a cynical and suspicious old man.
Change my mind.
Change my mind, sir.
You've proven that yourself, Rhinebeck. I'd advise you to look to your own linen. It's not as white as it appears.
Oh, dear.
Work on my laundry?
Yes, that's the dirty laundry, yes. That's the symbolism. Indignant as you've made us feel, Mr. Rhinebeck, we realize your intentions were not entirely tainted by prejudice, but I assure you that it affords us little comfort. Good day, sir.
Good day.
We were too preoccupied by thought to say much during the drive back to the gas station. Except for occasional glances at the surrounding traffic, Stan's eyes stared with smoldering intensity at some fixed object ahead, visible only to himself. How would his confused and tortured mind rationalize these unforeseen developments? I put an end to the conflict in my own brain and tabled all decisions for the near future. We're almost home, Stan. Is there anything you particularly like for dinner?
What? Oh, whatever you serve tonight will do, honey.
Hamburger helper it is.
Mac and cheese.
Ooh, either sounds good.
Ooh.
That evening we received 2 visitors who to me were as unexpected as snow in July. Strangely enough, Stan didn't register a surprise at their sudden appearance. Whatever the purpose of the visit, I thought, there would be many a raised eyebrow among the town's influential families when it was learned that Amon Cleveland and his son Marshall paid a personal call on those questionable bucos.
Good evening, Buco. I hope you don't mind our tripping in on like this.
I don't, if you don't, Mr. Cleveland. Hello, Marsh.
Hello there, Stan. It seems like you're since we played ball together at Hudson High.
Yeah.
I knew, Tony. A grown married woman. I am sorry to hear about your grandmother, my dear.
Why don't you sit down?
There's no chairs. Oh.
I know.
You know, Budco, unlike others in this town, I've always maintained that a man is entitled to live in any manner in which he chooses. His vices and virtues should be his own affair.
That's a very liberal attitude, Mr. Cleveland. Of course, I've seen you sitting a couple of tables over from me at the gambling den, so I expect nothing less.
Wait, is that Grover Cleveland?
Unfortunately, in Bradley, such philosophies are a rarity.
Well, I know, my boy. I don't think an old Amon Cleveland has always escaped the town's wagging tongues. Like Marshall here, I've sowed many a wild oat until the old man took a hand and pushed me nose first into the real estate business. Fact is, I still take an occasional nip and place a wager now and then.
Yes, I remember seeing you quite often when I worked for McCready at the gambling casino. They had a great little garage there. I towed it. You usually did okay, too.
Well, of course. A man has to relax from the pressure of his responsibilities. But speaking of good fortune, Woodco, I understand that you two found a large share of it in Sarah Benson's legacy.
Dun dun dun.
We don't consider grandmother's passing good fortune, Mr. Cleveland.
That's not what I meant, child. Sarah Benson's death was a great shock to us all. But nevertheless, she is gone. And you two are in possession of the Benson house and property. Very valuable assets. Very valuable.
Could mean a lot of ready cash for us, eh?
12,000 good American dollars. And it's any time you want it, Woodco. That's what the real estate firm of Cleveland and Son thinks of that property. Anytime you want it. That's a lot of money back now.
That's very interesting, Mr. Cleveland. But it's a little too soon for either Tony or myself to be thinking about any offers.
Oh, now we're not so callous as to propose any deal at this time.
And yet,
It's something that to think about, though. That kind of capital could go a long way towards easing the burden for a young married couple like yourselves.
I see.
so would owning a house.
I would move back there.
Yeah. Well, Marshall and I certainly enjoyed calling on you youngsters. You're making a fine beginning here. You deserve much more encouragement than the community has given you. Good night.
Think you've just about finished repairing this gas station?
Shrewd young people, those two. So properly indignant at discussing business at a time of mourning. And as eager for the money as we are for the property.
I don't know. He seemed rather sincere. Stan was never our geranium,
Okay.
but he was a likable sort when I knew him at school.
Don't be a complete idiot, Marshall. Budko has traveled with the worst element in town since he first began to earn his dollar. Tony and he are two of a kind. They'll turn poor Sarah's legacy into as much money as it will bring. We'll hear from them soon enough. Mark my words.
I don't got a marker.
Words walking in here.
Until the coming of the legacy, the town's prejudice against both Stan and myself had cloaked its existence in the unpleasant silence of a glare and the evil hiss of distorted rumor. But now it stood on our doorstep, mocking and unashamed, a challenge to our self-respect. A dead woman had planned the situation, and somehow I felt she was watching the outcome.
Tony, I wish to heaven your granny hadn't done this thing.
I know all this has disturbed you dreadfully, Stan, but let's not be goaded into any emotional decisions which only these nasty snobs would profit by.
Oh, that's no lie. Those real estate jackals stand to make a pretty penny once they buy the Benson house. But that's not the issue.
Huh, you mean we are the issue? Stan, we mustn't allow the town to invade our lives this way. It's bound to cause us great unhappiness.
I see SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
On the contrary, chicken, our only chance for happiness among these people is to wade into their midst and establish a respected household to match any in town. That's our goal. That's our only way to peace of mind and a good life. And now I look like Jack Kirby.
There you go.
We'll keep the Benson house, Tony. That's our beachhead. It'll take stamina and courage to secure it till we've won. Any volunteers for the mission?
Here's one, mister. Sink or swim, I'm with you. I've never been more proud of anyone in my life.
Ain't it cute?
Incorporating the Benson house into our budget proved to be a mathematical impossibility. Stan and I worked diligently for hours on end until our fingers could no longer hold a pencil, until every channel of thought had been drained of its contents. I gazed wearily across the table at Stan. He crushed another cigarette stub into the crumpled mass of its half-smoked predecessors and faced me with a foolish grin.
Well, baby, these figures still add up to the same total. No can do. I'm going to go gamble away the estate.
No,
Yeah.
No?
no, our present income will never meet the expense of maintaining the Benson house.
So why don't you rent it out?
Right? That's a good idea. An investment property.
Yes.
Of course, business is good. A lot of gas stations need repair and getting better. But property taxes and needed repairs won't wait for future profit increase.
Oh no. We could secure a loan from the bank, Stan, pay it back in small installments while the business grows. Oh no, no. Oh no.
Mm-mm. Nope, nope. Mm-mm.
Rent it out.
And while you're at it,
Rent.
why don't you get a loan for some eyebrow tweezers? Those things are nasty.
Hey, that's not my fault. Blame Stan and such. Or Mr. Jack.
It's as nasty as my right hand.
Yeah.
That's probably fine.
It looks like the talon of a big bird.
It does. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Next panel, please.
Can you make soup from its feathers?
I mean, you could just sell the gas station, too.
Yeah, might be the answer. For a Smith or Jones, but not for a Budco. Old man Scott doesn't give loans to unsavory characters, remember? I'm tired, baby. We'll hit on an angle tomorrow.
Yeah, like rent out some rooms if it's a big place.
It's true. It's damn true.
Bed and breakfast.
The likelihood of finding another solution seemed very remote to me at the time. I shed cold tears of frustration at the prospect of losing this opportunity to establish a proper household. We just had to get that loan. No matter what the bank president's attitude was towards Stan and myself, I was determined to persuade them to help us. I'd like to see Mr. Scott, if I may, please.
On your name, miss.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
Intellectual properties!
That's Professor X. Oh my God, it is.
Whoa, no! Hmm?
It's a hot cha-cha guy.
Oh, is this a different guy?
Yeah, different guy.
That's right, Jennings. I know the young lady. Hello there, Tony.
Why, Bob Scott, my goodness, it seems ages since I've seen you. I came to see your father. Mm-mm.
Daddy's busy right now. Maybe I can be of some service. Won't you come right into the office?
Thank you, Bob. I can use some assistance.
I'm sure you could.
Oh no, this is not good. A few moments later, I sat opposite this formal, well-groomed young executive in his patrician surroundings of rich leather and paneled oak. It struck me as inconceivable that only 2 years before, the same Bob Scott had led me on a madcap tour of nightclubs and involved me in a scandalous gambling raid. That this ingratiating voice addressing me so patronizingly had once so wrongfully called me Pickup.
It's been 2 years, hasn't it, Pickup?
Hey,
I understand you're married. That chap, what's his name? Oh, yes. Budko. Stan Budko. Funny, my forgetting the name of the man who gave me a shiner.
you've made great strides since those days, Bob. Surely you've become too big a man to harbor grudges.
Oh, pish posh, please. Don't misunderstand, Tony. I deserve that wallop for trying to run out on you during the gambling raid.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly was a wild, unprincipled stinker, wasn't I? And yet it's a nostalgia. I feel rather than regret. Why should that be, Tony?
Ah, who can say, Bob? Life was made for laughs in those days. There was little time for cares or responsibilities.
Yes, life then was, oh, it was great fun. I guess I was quite the cut up. The pace has slowed down to a more dignified walk. These past 2 years, I've married two, you know.
Hmm.
Yes, Sophie Morrison. Prominent family and background. You must have read the papers. I lived the most exemplary existence. A must for men in finance.
Hmm.
It looks like he suffers from the same hand affliction as the other dude.
Yeah.
There's not enough lotion in this town.
Yes. Yes. Poor Bob. It wasn't difficult to see that his restless spirit had not completely adjusted itself to the rigid morals of his social group. However, this mutual reminiscing was consuming precious time needed for the effective presentation of my problem. I discreetly shut the door to the past and brought Bob's attention to the original purpose of my call. And that about sums up our situation, Bob. A loan at this time will help us hold the Benson house.
Uh-huh, I see. Of course, you realize you may have to mortgage this heritage unless Stan has other collateral.
Like the station, if he owns it.
That's
Yeah.
putting the cart before the horse. Cha-cha. There's Dad to reckon with first. This is his. His is the final word these days. And that's all that matters. I'll do everything I can for you, Tony. For old time's sake. Eh?
Uh-oh.
Let me stroke your hand.
Ugh. I'm glad I'm wearing gloves.
Amy.
Oh dear me, how progressive this stodgy old banking business has become. How utterly revolutionary. But then it is so like Bob to blaze new trails. What am I wearing?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm still here.
Oh, my meeting with Sophie Morrison Scott recalled to my mind the jungle sequence of an old movie in which the unarmed native, having been frozen into immobility by the ominous low rumble of sound behind him, turned slowly about and watched with terrible fascination the stealthy movements of the tigress as a sleek cat-like shape, wow, emerges into full view. Peering out of Sophie's blasé mask was a predatory animal poised to spring.
You have a talent for distorting what you see, my dear. This is Tony Benson. We were classmates in school.
School must have been fun. I suppose you both were holding hands in those days too.
Uh,
I must be going, Bob. Stan and I would be very grateful if the bank would extend us a loan. Goodbye, Mrs. Kitty Catty Cat Scott.
Turtles!
Mm.
I'll do my best with Dad, Tony. You can be sure of that. We'll get in touch with you soon.
Hmm.
I think I need more hat.
The quarrel I knew was brewing broke in full fury before I had closed the door to Bob's office. The bank employees nearby made no effort to disguise their interest in what was transpiring. Each scrutinizing glance had held its own nasty conclusion.
Oh, dear God! Not the face! Not the face! That's an expensive lamp!
I did my shopping that afternoon under a lingering cloud of apprehension, hoping that the unfortunate incident wouldn't jeopardize my chances for a loan. But Sophie Scott's jealous wrath was destined to provoke a situation which must graver consequences. When I turned home at 4, its dark shadow had already fallen.
It's not
Why?
Adventurous production.
Uh-oh. Yeah, dark shadows, yes. Why, darling, I didn't expect to find you in before supper time. There we go. That's the whistle.
Tony, where on earth have you been?
Well, given she's carrying groceries, grocery store.
Lots of places, Stan. The market, the department stores, the bank. Why do you ask?
The bank. Just like that, you say it. The bank.
Mm-hmm.
Stan, what are you driving at? What's happened?
You tell me, baby. There are 59 different versions floating around about town, each one more sordid than the other.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, Stan, it couldn't have gone that far. Why, the whole thing is so ridiculous. I never dreamed it would have such repercussions. Stan, this is terrible.
Yes, it didn't take the town long to make your little trip to the bank the day's #1 topic. I almost beat the story out of Harvey Griffin when he stopped for gas and started dropping 6 cracks. My temper got out of hand then. I charged him extra to repair his gas station. I took off to confront Bob Scott for the truth. He became impatient and abusive. I think he'll need a new upper plate.
You fought with Bob over over nothing at all? Stan, how could you be taken in by such an unfounded tale? If there's any possibility of a loan at all, it's gone now. Stan, I feel so tired, so ineffective.
Believe me, Tony, I never doubted you for a second. But it all happened so suddenly, like being hit by a rotten tomato. I just started talking out of my butt.
I know this won't boost our morale, darling, but I'm going to cry. Forgive me, Stan. I just can't help myself, sugar pie, honey bunch.
Cut loose, honey. I've still got another shirt. Bless it, Tony. It isn't fair. This town just won't give us a chance. Well, I'm through playing whipping boy. For the holier-than-thou crowd in town, I know someone who isn't squeamish about dealing with Stan Budko. Hello, operator. I want lane 8675309.
Stan, whom are you calling?
Jenny, don't you listen to pop radio? Who is this? Chips? Yeah, how's Tricks? Listen, is McCready in? I've got to talk to him.
McCready, the gambler. Stan, I won't let you do this.
Stop it, Tony. There's no other alternative. Your granny didn't leave that house to anyone but us. Now I'm fighting for it the only way left to me.
Not that way, Stan. That's not what grandmother wanted. Don't you see that it wasn't the house itself that grandmother wanted us to have, but the honest, decent life it represented? She would have rather seen us lose the house than our self-respect.
I'll leave the noble ideas for such people as the Scots, Tony. They've money enough to afford righteousness. Hello, this you, McCready? Listen, McCready, I'd like to see you tonight. Sure, it concerns dough. Yes, it's important. I'm in a spot. And there's something wrong with the phone. Everybody sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. And you're the guy to help me. Okay, I'll be down in about a half hour or so. I'm going to see McCready, Tony. You know that name that's been used 7 times in the previous page?
Yes.
When I come back, we'll have that house.
But little else, Stan. Using McCready's money to build a good life would make a hollow mockery of everything we're striving for. We'd never know happiness again.
I could never have bought this gas station without the money I earned at McCready's casino.
Uh-oh.
We haven't felt tainted by it so far.
You can't sell me on that, Stan. If you go through with this madness, I won't be here when you get back.
Dun dun
Dun,
dun.
dun. Oh,
I forgot my keys.
yeah. I sat rooted to the chair, horribly shaken by the violence of Stan's departure. Time itself had disintegrated in one clap of thunder, leaving no past, no present, nothing visible ahead. Nothing remained but the firmness of conviction, a poor replacement for a shattered heart, but embodied with sufficient strength to generate movement in my lifeless limbs. It's all over. It doesn't seem possible. Yet here I am, packing, leaving Stan. I love our plans. I can't do it. Heaven help me. I can't do it. I know what Stan is doing is wrong, but I can't walk out on him this way. Oh, why has this happened to us? Why have we been driven to this insane behavior? We've tried so hard to live like decent human beings.
It's your secret room.
This is the guy from before?
I have no idea.
Uh,
Oh my God, Jack.
they're new people? Ah,
Yes.
More people, I guess.
Yes.
yeah, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, sorry. You must be Mrs. Budco?
And I am Saul Goodwin.
Yeah.
Looks like Bobblebrink.
Forgive us that we've intruded, Mrs. Budco, but we just had to see you folks. I'm Don Savage Oldie, and the big drop of water with me. That's Jack 14.
From the
Uh,
Overcon.
Yes. Please feel at ease, gentlemen. Can I be of any help?
Out of my way, fellas. Tony, thank heaven you didn't leave.
Yeah.
Stan, the man.
I mean, it looks like you've lined up 2 dates, but I couldn't go through with it, Tony. I never got to McCready's. It suddenly struck me that I might really lose you. I knew that nothing in this world was worth that kind of sacrifice. Except maybe a bigger truck to tow those gas stations. Tony. How I love you.
Oh, darling, I don't care what happens now, as long as we have each other. Stan, I was so terribly frightened.
Did
And
we
the guys are going, what the heck's going on?
did we walk into the wrong story?
Yeah.
I mean, we hate to interrupt, but we were here on an urgent matter, and we'd like to get it settled.
Say, who are you guys? What do you want?
A place to live for our wives and kids, Mr. Budco. I mean, we understand you folks own the Benson house, and well, we've seen the place, and it's got like 10 rooms. I wonder if you'd consider maybe renting some of those rooms.
10 rooms?
Mhm.
Hello, Puppetine.
Hey, little Puppetine. Jack and I are new in town, but we've got well-paying jobs at the steel mill, and for a couple of XGIs, I'd say we're doing fine. Except that, the housing shortage in town has us stymied.
Puppetine, take this next one.
Outside of pitching tents in the park, the Benson house seems to be our only hope of finding shelter.
That's not Church Bailey.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes. Stan, we could maintain the house with their rent money added to our income, and the boys' families do need a place to live.
$30 a month for 3 rooms for each of you.
Whoa.
Also, a little cooperation when any of us need it, okay?
Oh, that sounds reasonable to me. Oh, we can meet that. You got yourself some tenants, Mr. Budco.
Good deal.
You don't happen to know anyone who can repair a gas station in town?
It was a lovely day, a glorious day. The Savoldi's and Fontaines beamed happily when we met them at the gate of the Benson house. Stan and I were immediately aware of the affinity we shared with pleasant young people. All of us were young, hearty, and eager to become a part of the town's vitality. Stan suddenly swept me up in his arms as the warm laughter of our newfound and friends followed us across the flagstone walk, which led to the house. Happiness had returned. Is this the end of the story?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's it, unless you guys want to do another one.
Let's do one more.
All right. Hey, young city bred Puppetine Adams could sell anything.
but his hardest job was selling himself to the pretty Kathy Remington. Yes, just right. She was rich and loaded with many bullets.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
How did she finally swing the sail? Well, that's the story of Kathy and the Merchant of Sunset Crayon.
Okay, there's something that we haven't done yet in this reading, and we probably, since
We
it's
should.
our last story.
And
Dan, this is no time to resume petty differences. Let me help you.
Yes.
Don't let emotion rule your opinion, Kathy. I'm still puppeting Adams, the merchant. The most disliked man in this reading.
Oh, truer words were never spoken, you egomaniacal piece of felt.
well, there goes.
Damn you too, Kathy.
Oh God, my bar's on fire! Darn you, Puppertine!
Yeah, that'd be the she.
I guess we were all standing around gawking the day Dan Adams came to town with his freakishly long arms. God,
Fingers.
to his knees. And when you add in the fingers, they tickle the ground. We wanted to get a look at the man who would take advantage of old Fred Adams' misfortune and buy the store from him because he needed money badly. You see, his gas station repair business had gone belly up.
Oh dear.
Fred told us that his nephew Clint was a nice enough fellow, but there were none of us who had a good word for him that day.
That's you.
That must be your nephew now, Fred. I think he's a ne'er-do-well.
Yes. Don't take it so hard, Kathy. The money from the store will give me a chance to settle down on a place of my own.
Gas station repair?
Yes.
I don't know what I'd expected it to look like. We're right prejudiced against city folk.
City folk.
City? But I remembered being surprised that they could grow anyone that big.
Oh my.
And he was tall, too.
Oh my.
He was terribly large. There was something almost massive about him. And his shoulders were wide, too.
Oh my gosh.
And he had a slight sneer on his face. In the one moment that our eyes met, I felt self-conscious about my country clothes, so I ripped them off.
Oh
And
dear.
I appeared before stalkers.
Well, Uncle Fred, is this a reception committee for me or a farewell for you?
They're all my aunt friends, Dan. Click, Dan. And I'm sure they'll be yours too.
Fred had owned the gas station repair store for as long as most of us could remember. We couldn't forget either that he was having to give it up because his tow truck wasn't big enough.
it's a problem.
Because of his own soft-heartedness, Fred had never been the type of person to turn away customers with or without money.
Goodbye, everybody. It's time to go. Gotta leave you all behind and face the truth. All right, and let you know how city life agrees with me.
So long there, Fred. Come back and visit us once in a while. Eh? I'm Canadian.
Mhm.
Well, I've heard about good old Western sentimentality, but this is the first time I've ever seen it in action.
Huh.
It's something you wouldn't ever understand. You downhearted Shylock.
Like, you've literally just met.
I form quick judgment.
No, okay.
Yeah, and she's got Miss Piggy's nose.
She's like a little horse.
Dan Adams lost no time in establishing a new business policy designed for profit, not friendship.
Wait. You sure it's not Puppeteen Adams? Not Anne French? No credit?
Puppeteen Adams lost no time in establishing his massive ego. He said no other names, just his. No one else in the credits? Who does he think he is?
That piece of felt.
There you go.
His sign made me so blasted mad. I sort of... Who's sleeping?
I found my box.
I sort of lost my head for a couple of minutes. I told him exactly what I thought of him. All that time he just stood there, laughing at me. And his laughter made me feel a funny kind of helplessness. What do you mean putting up that sign? As though no one else is worthy of being credited in one of these readings? They can't be trusted to say their lines? There wasn't a person around here that didn't get credit when you were gone and Vegman was in charge?
Hey now, calm down just a little. You're mighty small for a full-fledged tornado.
It's some pretty long fingers.
Miss Remington, my uncle went broke giving everybody credit. Telling people around here who was in the show. And I don't intend to follow his pattern. If you look around, you'll see I've also raised most prices.
Bagora, I think you're making a smart move, Mr. Adams. Or sweet chicks, I like to call you. Oh, hello there, Kathy.
That was Mary Lou Sinclair. She was a bitch.
Yes.
His father owned the bank and held a lot of mortgages around here. She'd always thought she was a lot better than most of us because she'd gone to college. I could see right away that she and Dan Adams ought to hit it off just fine.
I'm better than you, and you know it, baby. Bagora, it's refreshing to touch your tush there, Bush Adams. Mr. Puppeteen. It's good to meet a hard-headed, hard butt in this town. Let my hand linger a little lower.
Yeah, dear.
Of course, Miss Remington, if you neglected to bring money with you, I'll be glad to trust you till the next time you come to town.
Don't do me any favors. Now I'm just going to take my Catherine Hepburn looking ass out of the store.
Exactly.
Brad.
The new policy of the store was the talk of everyone during the days that followed. Everyone resented it. We might have been a poor community, but none of us took advantage of another's misfortune, as Puppeteen Adams was doing.
I mean, he did go out of business.
You want me to take it?
I ain't take it. She has it online. Well,
Yeah.
Or Melissa.
Melissa can take it.
Oh. Well, I guess I can't really blame Dan none. Very few of us ever paid Fred the money we owed him.
Oh, gosh. So they know there's a problem.
But everybody would have, as soon as we had a good year, or a good rich, or Bridgestone.
Armidas.
I should have known even then that there was something wrong with the way I felt about Puppeteen Adams. It wasn't natural to hate someone on such short notice. The way I hated him. That's actually not true. I hated him. As it was, I lay awake nights thinking about him.
Oh, dear.
Picturing him
Think of me.
in the all together.
Oh,
Big
darling.
Palpatine, I love you.
That bear felt? Oh, my gosh.
As you
The way he looked as he stood there laughing at me. So big and utterly capable looking.
Oh, my God. This is not Palpatine.
A man like that is,
I disagree. I think it is.
a man like that is dangerous. He really believes it. If there was only some way we could make him move out of town.
Ooh. Send him to Abu Dhabi.
I stayed away from the store until we were completely out of supplies at the ranch. Finally, I went to the bank and drew some money from the fast dwindling sum. Dad had left me and went reluctantly to the store.
Well, Miss Remington, I thought maybe I'd lost my favorite and customer.
Publix?
It's not likely, since there's no other store I could take my feminine wiles to.
Aw.
I've just got something in from from Denver. Thought you might be interested in it.
You ought to know by now that I couldn't afford a dress like that. It was the most beautiful dress I had ever seen, and I would have given anything in the world to have owned it. I was immediately self-conscious about the clothes I was wearing, so I took them off.
Tell me that.
In my general unkempt appearance. But when a girl is running a ranch, she doesn't have too much time for beauty treatments.
Well, I'd be glad to make you a present of it if you'll go to Mary Lou's live stream with me. Mary Lou England's live stream with me.
No, thank you. The price is much too high.
That's fair.
Now, if you don't mind, I came to buy a few supplies.
Oh, my goodness.
For a single moment, he looked as though I might have hurt him. But it was probably just my imagination running away with
Stay with
me.
you.
Right then, I knew nothing. I mean, nothing would ever bother him. He was a man of stone,
Menafelt.
without feelings.
Of course. And I trust you brought cash.
Naturally, I'm used to paying for everything I buy.
Buying credit.
If I thought I hated Dan Palpatine Adams then, it was nothing, I tells you, compared to the feeling I was to have for him later. After I had purchased my supplies, I was about to head for home when I caught the tail end of a conversation.
Ranch don't need many supplies.
Good.
Good God, that man's mooning the entire panel.
Yes, he is.
So then he says he'll give me what the bank offered on a mortgage for 51% of the ranch, providing he handled the business end of it. He says I could buy it back anytime I got the money plus 10%.
I don't know what to think of a deal like that.
Are you talking about Palpatine Adams?
Yeah, he's willing to pay cash too. He says he could borrow the money from a bank in Denver.
The men were mixed in their opinions. Like always, they were willing to give someone the benefit of the doubt. But if they couldn't see through this offer, I could. As usual, Puppeteen Adams was thinking only of himself and taking advantage of people who only wanted to be credited.
Yes.
And they had no chance to fight back.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know what to say if he made me an offer like that, and I sure could use the cash.
There you go, Amy.
Well, I'll tell you, if he can put my ranch back on its feet, I'd be glad to give him half of it.
The back end.
The work at the ranch kept me too busy to spend much time in town. And I was sort of glad, too, because town reminded me of Puppeteen now. I saw him everywhere I went. It just looks at you wherever you go.
Oh, dear.
At home, if I worked hard enough, I was sometimes able to forget him for a couple hours at a stretch.
Kathy, hello. I wasn't sure whether you got my invitation to my live stream or not. You are coming, aren't you?
Well, yes. I guess I can, Mary Lou. There was very little in the way of entertainment in town, so we jumped at the chance, even if it meant going to a live stream given by Mary Lou, who none of us cared much for. Oh dear, I hope she didn't hear me say that. Nearly everyone in town had been invited, and most of them would be in fabulous dresses provided by Puppeteen Adams, but I turned mine down, so I'm just going to look like crap. And as I entered, everyone seemed to be having a wonderful time, dressed in their only good clothes.
Yes, skip to my Lou. Kathy,
No, that's Amy.
Oh, Kathy, I'm so glad you could come. You go in now and have a good time.
Did you pick up my Chesterfields?
I think they're probably with a jacket check.
Oh. I didn't see Puppeteen Adams around, and I found myself looking for him. I couldn't understand why he should be constantly on my mind.
Like Windsong.
Yet, oh, good reference. When he came over to dance with me, I tried to ignore him.
Are you looking for someone, Kathy?
Oh, may I cut in? Maybe you haven't heard me. I'm Puppeteen. Hi!
He can scratch his knees without bending.
We know.
I went into his arms without looking at him. Dancing with him was a new experience. His pixel fingers were everywhere. Most of the boys around here had never learned to dance, and they did little more than walk you around the floor. But with Dan, it was more like effortless floating. I'm glad to see the dress didn't go to waste. It wouldn't have fitted me anyway, if it fits Mary Lou.
yeah, that was my part, Mariah.
It was your size. Mary Lou had it altered.
I was disappointed when the music ended because I expected him to leave me and go to Mary Lou. He led me outside, however, and I went with him willingly. Oh dear God, I'm a trollop. It was the first time that I'd ever really been alone with him,
Puppeteen.
and I was strangely afraid.
And turned on.
Let's get a little air, Kathy.
I
Eric.
just what?
Let's get a little air, Erica.
America. Go America.
Oh my gosh.
I understand you've gone into the ranching business.
Hey.
Purely as an investment. I think I can make some of these ranches pay off.
I suppose it's entirely the humanitarian instinct in you that makes you want to help the ranchers.
The Jolly Ranchers.
The other YouTubers.
Other YouTubers. You know how much entertainment I brought to Isle of Comics last night.
Mhm.
If I hadn't been afraid of him right then, I wouldn't have gone on talking so crazily. But my fear made me express all the resentment I had been storing against him for so long.
I'll ignore the sarcasm. My only humanitarian instinct concerns myself. If my plan works, I make 10%. Incidentally, don't you ever stop talking?
No,
Of course not. You're
I'm narrating the story.
When Puppetine kissed me.
Oh my God.
When Puppetine kissed me,
Oh, that felt.
I knew I'd never felt anything like it.
Oh no.
See what I did there?
I know what you did there. Oh, no.
I knew that this was what I'd been afraid of all evening. There was something terribly conquering in his kiss.
Oof.
Feel my felt lips.
If his kiss hadn't affected me so, I never would have slapped him. But I couldn't stand the idea of seeing triumph in his face after he let me go. So without looking at him, I hit him as hard as I could. I wouldn't advise you to try that very often. 2 or 3 times an evening, but no more.
Did he see intellectual property?
I only remained at the party after that because I wouldn't let Puppetine Adams know for the world how he had confused me. He seemed and my
Whoa.
car was in the shop. I drove it onto the sidewalk again.
Mhm.
It's a long story. He seemed totally unaffected by the whole thing as he danced Tony.
Wait,
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. I thought they were doing better. Okay.
I think it's a different Tony.
Tony had an eye last time.
Yeah. that's
Oh,
right.
okay. This is a different Tony.
It's a guy named Tony.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a relief dancing with you, Dapper Dan. After some of these locals. I think this might be Puppetine.
That's him.
Yeah, he moved on. Yeah, it's Puppetine.
What?
That's you.
Oh, anybody should be able to want you around the floor, Tony.
Which means
Call me Froggy.
Froggy.
It was about midnight that night when Sam Hoax burst into the dance with his dreadful news. At first we thought he was kidding.
Yes. There's a fire out at Merriwell's. We need everybody we can get. That someone set a forest fire.
Oh
It's a good thing we have water, right? This
Yeah,
isn't California.
This is not California. California.
By the time I got to the Merriwell's, one barn was almost gone, and there was no saving it. Although the men battled heroically, they had managed to save the animals, though, and to prevent the fire from spreading further.
I wonder who set that fire.
no. I thought he was pouring a gasoline for a minute. Like, no, don't.
That's the wrong fluid.
That's from a pump. Watch out. It'll cave in and get more water.
As I watched, it seemed that Puppeteen Adams was everywhere at once, directing them in the firefighting, rescuing animals in general, helping old ladies across the street,
Oh, that's good.
taking charge. Then, when he neared me, I saw that he was badly burned himself.
This is just like me running the front end at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Yeah.
I've got to take care of Mrs. Merrywell. The fire got Seth.
Oh no.
Puppeteen! Your hand! With the freakishly long fingers! Let me get you something! Suddenly, I wanted to take care of him, to tend his wounds, and to hold him in my arms. But as quickly he pushed me away roughly, and looking at his eyes, I saw nothing but hate.
Well, I mean,
Well, leave me alone.
ugh.
He strode past me without another glance, and part of me died in that moment. I remembered that a short time ago I had slapped him, and I knew that any feeling he had for me was gone by now. Why should he let me care for him after what I had done? Oh, Puppeteen!
Don't go walking into the burning building.
The funeral for Seth Merrywell?
No. It was Mariah Merrill.
Oh, that's right. I got gut. I had one or two lines, but I delivered them well.
The funeral for Mariah Merrywell was held the following Monday, and although every instinct within me was against it, I forced myself to go.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This is okay. Wait a minute.
All around me, I could hear the men muttering that Frank's death had been unnecessary.
It's Seth, and now it's Frank.
Who did it?
Everybody's dying.
Okay.
Oh, well. Is that supposed to be me?
Gotcha.
No.
Oh, well, if we knew a little about firefighting, Seth would be here today.
Oh, the town needs some decent equipment.
Is that Sloth?
Yeah, maybe.
The Goonies?
Maybe.
Mm,
I was busy all of the next week, but I could never get Mrs. Merrywell, out of my mind. I want pancakes.
Mhm.
What would she do with the failing ranch now that Seth was yeeted?
Yep.
There was no way I could help, but I rode over to see her anyway. I know there's nothing I can do, but I came over to see if there's anything I can do for you.
Anyway,
Okay.
There's nothing you can do, Kathy.
Oh, sorry.
I know, I just read that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's... You're fine. Keep going.
Puppeteen Adams?
Palpatine, yeah. Is that me? Okay. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do, Kathy. Palpatine Adams is taking care of everything. You gave me credit.
What?
I wanted to scream. You fool. Poor Mrs. Merrywell. She had no way of knowing the man she was up against. Once again, he had taken advantage of someone in their time of weakness.
You know, he paid for all the funeral expenses himself. Then he offered to handle the sale of the cattle for me. He knows some buyers who will pay much better prices. Oh, it didn't seem fair. He's doing all the work, so I offered him half. He paid me cash, too.
The least they could do after setting the fire.
I wish you hadn't done that. He's no good. He'll trick you somehow.
Oh, you got him all wrong, Kathy. He's organizing a volunteer fire squad in town and getting equipment from the city.
The
People
city.
have,
Oh, silly.
people have changed their minds about him.
Mm-mm.
I could see now his entire scheme. He was winning over the people, and after he had their confidence, he would buy them out, one by one, until he owned everything around here. And there was no way of stopping him. There's nothing we can do. There's no way of stopping him.
There you go.
He's got us all by the throats.
At hour 3.
Oh my gosh.
We made it!
And perhaps the worst part of it all was the knowledge that I, too, would have to play into his freakishly large hands. Week by week, the money had dwindled down until, finally, it was gone. Cattle still had to be fed, and the men paid, and there was no point in trying to get a loan from the bank. There was only Puppeteen Adams to turn to. There's not a cent left. Well, I can't let the stock starve. I'll have to go to him.
You will follow him.
Dun dun dun. Early the next morning, I saddled a horse to go to town. I felt like I was betraying Dad and everyone who had ever worked to build the ranch up into something. But I had no choice. I'm going into town to try to get a loan, Bill.
All right, Miss Kathy.
They could sell some livestock, maybe.
Well,
Hey, make rent a house.
Rent the house. Yep.
As I entered his store, I wondered what had filled my thoughts before they were full of hate for him. Then, when I saw him standing in the store, so big and strong and manly,
oh my.
the feeling that had come over me the night of the fire besieged me, leaving me weak and even more confused.
Well, I was beginning to wonder whether you still lived in these live streams or not, Mr. Brain. Kathy.
I came to tell you to eat hot death. Oh, and to see if you want to buy half of my ranch.
Oh dear.
Ranch dip.
Ooh.
He looked at me for a long moment,
I looked at him.
as though we were thinking it over. And I wondered if he were considering turning me down. It was the clothes, so I ripped them off. I couldn't meet his steady gaze. Oh dear, maybe that's why I didn't get anywhere with him. Then embarrassedly, I turned away.
I don't want your ranch dressing, Kathy. But I'll lend you the money if you'll take my advice about selling your cattle.
I told you before, I don't want any favors from you. I want the same offer you made everybody else.
You've heard my offer to you. You'll do it that way or not at all?
Or no credit at all.
Then I
You're not
don't
getting
want it.
credit.
I turned away to leave, but before I got to the door, I began to cry. Wah! I didn't know which way to turn or what to do.
She'd walk straight into the closet.
And I took off my clothes. Right then, more than anything else in the world, I wanted Puppeteen to put his arms around me and tell me everything would be all right.
Kathy, you little fool, come here. Me, puppet.
It'll be all right.
Okay.
Come into my puppet arms.
It was a command, and I obeyed him,
Good.
feeling for the first time since we met that I was doing the right thing. He took me in his Puppeteen arms and said all the things I had wanted to hear.
Dry your eyes, Kathy. I'm going to take good care of you from now on.
Oh, this doesn't sound ominous.
Oh, Puppeteen, I love you, and I want you to,
You forgot about Clint?
even though you're wearing the Hulk's pants.
Where's the Hulk?
They are stretchy for good reason.
Oh my.
Oh, I'm ready to monologue.
There you go.
And just to relieve all your crazy ideas about me and not giving anybody credit. I'm not interested in owning any of the ranches around, but there's no excuse for they're not paying off. I can take care of that angle by a few modern ranching and entertaining techniques, and by selling cattle directly to Eastern plants instead of local dealers who take all the profit. I only bought part interest because that was the only way I could get money from the bank. Personally, I'll make plenty in this store if this is a prosperous community.
Hmm.
There's really no reason ranches shouldn't be making money.
Exactly. See,
You love beef.
thank you, random boys from the sky.
You're welcome. Beef.
That's what's for dinner.
Where's the beef?
I found it.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Oh my God, she's got black fingernails.
It had been our own ignorance and backwardness that had held us back, and we had scorned Dan because he wanted to show us the way out of our poverty. I had been the worst of them all, but I would spend the rest of my life making it up to him.
Oh dear.
Is that the end?
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
the end.
We want to thank you so much for joining us today. We had a great time and hope you did too.
Yeah.
We ask you to please like and comment and subscribe. It helps
Yes.
out the channel.
yes, that's right. We welcome you to come back and watch another exciting young romance with your host, Lord Skeletor, and his and minions.
Yes.
What?
That's not how this goes.
Yes, it's Alex. Right.
Silence, Puppeteen! I was here before you. I allowed you to join this for our equal hatred of He-Man.
You saw our review of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. You know whose face went on He-Man's body. Face it, Skeletor! Good night, everybody.
Was that you? Because I have no face, you bastard.
That's
Good
because
night.
I took it. Bye.
Clint, I love you.